Let's talk Gail Simone and some X-Men, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, all right. I haven't been reading a lot of new books. I've actually read more than I have in a while. And I'm going to be doing one of those big review things. But you mentioned this. Let's do a big bad comic beatdown. Let's go through this thing. I forgot to share it out, by the way. See if anybody else wanted to join us. That's just my life right now, how I'm just forgetting things left and right. But anywho, I'm okay with this. I want to check this out, and I want to see about, I got to tell you, though. And I am a Gail Simone fan.
Well, once upon a time, I was.
Well, you know what?
There's nothing she's done recently that has wowed me or even made me go, oh, okay, this isn't bad. And that,
you know what?
That combined with her toxic personality.
That is that you are right there. I am a Gail Simone fan of Birds of Prey, of Villains United. I'm up until I even liked her Batgirl. So, but there is a time, and Eric says it quite often. When she found Twitter, she lost her writing ability. Yeah. It's like and that's for a lot of writers, by the way. All they can do is write tweets now.
Yeah. But also too, though, as it's argued, you could consider her patient zero for what has come about of the comic book industry. Because she was not known at all until she started writing a blog and talked about women in refrigerators and came up with this whole thing, based off of the Green Lantern issue where Kyle Rayner's girlfriend is found in a refrigerator and he gets angry and then goes and, Yeah,
it's a ridiculous thing because women aren't the only characters that are put in danger or even killed to motivate the hero's story. Yeah. It's a false narrative at the very least.
Well, and her whole narrative was that was the only role that women served in comic books, which, as we all know now, is completely false. But
we all knew then too.
That got her recognition. That for whatever reason, people in the industry decided she needed to be placated, and her writing spawned a whole legion of women and leftist progressive nut jobs to start criticizing and attacking every little element in comic books, because there were other people that continued the whole women in refrigerators thing, and obviously it's become a meme, and an offshoot of that was blogs that were, criticizing, unrealistic art, which, spawned the whole, where are her organs, memes and things like that.
So, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. And so, I mean, just, and that just continued to lead to this, slide and this push to the left.
I actually enjoyed some of the I put it down all the time, the Plastic Man miniseries she did a couple of years back. Mm-hmm. The only problem I had was she kept trying to put out, like, she was trying to use the word wang to mean cool, and all I could hear was stop trying to make fetch happen. Hello to Cartoons and Comics, what's up?
Hello.
Hey.
So we're going to be checking out the Free Comic Book Day X-Men, done by Gail Simone, kind of get an idea of what direction this is going to go in. So, is she going to be modern Gail Simone, which is going to just mess up? Well, I don't know if you could say, I don't know if she can mix up the X-Men, okay? I'm going to be honest here. I think the whole Krakoa thing up the X-Men so bad. I joke how we haven't seen Captain America since he got shot. In the 2000s. Of course, Brubaker did a great run, but truly, when was the last time you felt you saw the X-Men?
Watching X-Men 97.
Okay, well, I mean in comics, but all right.
But
Which,
I mean,
by the way, I
before-
finally
before
finished the
that-
first episode.
Yeah, I mean, before that, it's been probably half a decade or more. Maybe it would probably be, honestly, actually, would probably been those X-Men Legends, that X-Men Legends series where they got creators to come back and kind of write stories that filled in classic arcs.
So they actually had to go and they had to nostalgia the out of it in order for you to be interested. Exactly.
10 years ago.
Yeah, and then I would say possibly the I personally did enjoy the Chris Claremont stories in the Kitty and Colossus. Well, call it wedding issue, I guess, or the engagement issue, because he didn't get married because another stupid decision.
What were you saying? Cartoons and comics?
And Legends was what, 10 years ago or more, if I'm correctly. Watching X-Men 97 reminded me why I always was a Sentinels fan, huge fan. I had a Machine Man toy who was very much like the Sebastian one, who he stretched the hands.
I gotta tell you, I'm watching, and I finally finished the first episode of X-Men 97, and the same problem I had with the 90s cartoon is the problem I have with this one. The Sentinels aren't in stormtroopers. Okay, they're mowing them down left and right. Like one X-Men is taking care of one Sentinel. No, the entire team has to fight one Sentinel. That's the way it should be. And they're just, okay, let's rip them apart. No, Sentinels have to be something. They have to be badasses. And they're just like, Jubilee's walking. Oh, look, fireworks. And Sentinel's like, oh, my eyes. And he falls down dead for some reason. Not that. Okay, you know what? I exaggerated. But point being is they nerfed the fucking Sentinels. Hello to Dom. What's up?
Man, just wait. You're gonna really like this.
Well, I will say, as you get
hello to Dominic.
As you get later into the X-Men 97, the Sentinels do get stronger.
Good, because God, exactly. Rhaegar makes Sentinels great again. All right, we are way off. Yeah, I beat up Sentinels on the weekend for kicks and stuff. That's the way it's been. Okay, and Jubilee's always kind of bothered me, but they write her wrong anyway. I was reading I think it was the Phalanx Covenant. Jubilee gets a spike through her shoulder right here, and Storm gets crushed a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." And starts running. Storm's like, "I got a couple of broken ribs. No big deal." Like, you can't breathe and you're in shock. Stop it. Just okay. Anyway, that was my problem with the whole era of X-Men. Anyway, the name is Gambit. Remember it, Mon Ami. Oh, I did like Gambit in his 1990s half shirt. I thought, okay, that's something. So anyway, we are going to do a little bit of a bad comic beatdown, and we're going to go through this. And the way we do it a little bit different than the Geeky Pup Show. I'm going to read through it. You guys have a comment, or just say pause, stop, whatever, and make your comment. And there you go. By the way, Dalton, I was about to say, if you want to jump. Hey, we got a Breen in house.
Whoops, sorry. I hit it the same time you did.
I turned this on for a second, and the first thing I see is you going, "Ooh, Sentinels."
Oh, good evening, fellas.
Was it properly effeminate, sir?
Good night.
Well, it's true. Did you see the cartoon? It's
No,
like they should...
I'm in my 60s. I watch Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
I get up. I know what I'm going to do today. Not watch X-Men 97.
All right.
We need to start a campaign to make Breen watch My Hero Academia.
Right.
Or read it.
And here's I'm gonna say, I prefer I prefer X-Men 97 over 90% of My Hero Academia. Into season 3, the villains of My Hero Academia make no sense.
Well, I mean, it, well, for season 3, like it was adapting what was going on at the time in the manga, but the series itself just started going downhill between Camino and the war arc. But however, that's beside the point.
So Rhaegar, you're right. I think I think Breen would like One Punch Man as well.
You missed it. I'm not a cartoon guy. I discovered Phineas and Ferb because I was visiting my sister when my niece was young.
Mm-hmm.
And you try to find ways to connect to your younger nieces and nephews. And she was watching that one day. I go, what in the fresh hell is this? This kid's got a triangle for a head. And I'm watching for a minute. I actually started laughing a little bit. I started laughing out loud. I go, this is actually funny.
Hey,
on all levels. And so, my niece got bored and went off to do other things. And I just sat there and probably watched 5 more episodes.
That happens. If you have small kids, you end up watching what you put on for them while they run around and play.
I would have watched more, but Dalton came over. We watched some sports, and everything was cool.
Of course, Dalton is a huge sports fan. Big gambling debt, though. You got.
I mean, you got to find the porn somewhere, I suppose.
Oh, actually, don't look for porn. Just go to the. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give away my secrets.
The key with Phineas and Ferb is it doesn't talk down to its audience, and it's just and it's such a fun cartoon.
Well,
guys, I can see this. I can see this being one of those live streams where we never get to the topic.
Well,
okay, but on the topic of Phineas and Ferb, I was actually in its target audience when it first premiered, and I will say it was a very good show and is a good show. So,
well, I could tell you it's 10 times better than any of the other crap that's being produced by Disney Channel.
Yeah,
it can make you laugh. It's literally the 2 to 92. There's nothing on there. There's never been anything in any of those episodes that you can't show to a 5-year-old. Yet, whether you're 5 or like I was well in my 50s when I found it, that you don't laugh out loud. I mean, it's terrific. I mean, very few shows of any kind can achieve what they did almost effortlessly.
The writing is also very smart in the sense that it almost has like a classic Looney Tunes vibe in that it throws in references and stuff that will probably go over some kids' heads, but will will bring up to some kids later and be like, oh, that's where they got this reference from, and so on.
Rhaegar, that is your loss, sir.
Yeah, makes me curious what the writers and the showrunners for Phineas Ferb are doing now, because they're sorely needed.
They're bringing it back, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to see
Hey, look, you know what?
Netflix and they fail.
They brought back Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, and it was a shell. It really was.
Well, but this is the same people as did the original Phineas and Ferb.
No, it's not the same people. It is, and I'll tell you why. Because the people, hold on, cartoons. The people who wrote the Phineas and Ferb wrote it and created it before this DEI crap that popped in. If they're not 100% against the DEI crap, it ain't the same people.
Yeah,
are the new episodes bad? Because I actually follow Dan Povenmire on social media, and he seems to be still pretty with it with regards to
hopefully. What would you say?
I just don't want to see
cartoons and comics. You were saying something.
You cannot be a sole writer anymore. You need consultants and the writing room with you. It's DI, it's sensitivity readers, it's all of that who end up nerfing the show. You cannot do half of the jokes they would do without the sensitive training guy saying to you, cannot do this joke or that. Like you cannot
and
say the mom is stupid or something like that. The dad you might escape with it, but the mom no. You know?
and Dominic, did you try to say something a little bit ago? It's been been a little bit.
Well, what I was going to add, when Animaniacs and Tiny Toons was brought back, what? Well, one of those two's major mistakes was not bringing back the original creative team, nor the voice actors and actresses that made the shows to what they are. Because Warner Brothers, they didn't reach out to them.
They also
Yeah.
reduced it down just to the Warner siblings and Pinky and the Brain, which is a mistake because a lot of the side characters make the show better as well.
Slappy Squirrel was my jam. I loved the whole and that
I
one.
am not surprised.
That one with
That's comic.
the one where she takes the little niece to see Bambi, and now she's got to find the deer to
nephew.
prove that she's still alive. Yeah, that was freaking funny as heck.
I was gonna say Skippy is male, dude. I don't know where he
Yeah.
is.
Oh, okay,
Well,
that's
if
fine.
you want to get depressed, go look up the recent news stories that have come out about the Ren and Stimpy reboot.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
No.
No.
Basically, short story is they brought in some of the old creative team into the book, and one of the writers said, "Yeah, we were brought in. Nobody would listen to us, and basically they wound up kicking us out."
Oh,
Of course.
So
And Warren Ellis all over again.
I will say
Of course.
this.
Why would you
I
pay
hate working
attention?
with Gen Z.
Why would
Gen
you pay
Z is the
attention to
worst, man.
made it popular?
and
Yeah.
don't get me started on how Warren Ellis is getting kicked in the nuts about 1,000 times at DC right now.
Not to mention what they did with Castlevania Nocturne, which isn't as bad as I feared it was going to be, but it's definitely missing something without him there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What were you saying? Hold on. What were you saying, Eric?
No, I was just say a couple things. LK, you were a little salty. I can't remember. Was it? What was it? Yules? No, I didn't catch
No,
that.
it was Culture Pop.
Yeah, popcorn by culture, whatever they call that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Well,
seems to be a sore spot with you.
So what happened was I was flipping through a certain site towards the end of the show, and I saw, oh God, Outsiders #7 came out this week, and I started looking at the first 2 or 3 pages, and then I was like, oh, you MFers, what have you done? And then I had to vent my spleen on that one. Oh, Dalton!
Wait a second, real quick. Dalton, did you just say ye gods?
yes, I
Ye
did.
gods, you are old.
That was used in the music, man.
I used that line earlier tonight in a text.
Yeah,
and I said, I looked at myself and said, "You are old."
I've never made a secret of the fact that I tend to bond with people several decades older than me, and I've always
That's
been
a century old. That was 1910 slang.
Okay, but I dress like a Victorian gentleman. I would have thought you would have gotten the message by now. Like, are you new? Have you been helped?
Look. Just long story short, Dalton, you're an old soul like me.
Yeah, but so Dalton, real quick, I don't know if you heard, Tom King is writing a Jenny Sparks miniseries.
Merciful Hecate, why?
No, my reaction to that news was, how many times do we had to come here and teach you this lesson, DC? Why you keep?
Can we send Tom King to Ukraine so he can torture Russians instead of us?
Like, come on, like, look, we can say what everybody can say what they will about Warren Ellis, but not even Jenny Sparks and the Authority deserves that torture.
I was saying, what kind of mommy issues can you give to Jenny Sparks?
Well,
regardless, it's not known already. If I weren't crippled and gay, I should have been born 100 years ago. By
Yeah.
virtue of me being triple pin gay, it's probably a good thing I wasn't born about a century ago. But
Yeah. Oh no, if you remember The Authority, Jenny Sparks is very easy to make a mommy strong character, like he's done with Wonder Woman and Catwoman and every other female character he's come across.
Oh, that's true. He has kind of shifted from the male characters having the mommy issues to just mommy strong, and then because the males, and I use that term lightly in Tom King books now, don't even have mommy issues. They're just completely subservient.
No,
Okay, but
I no,
speaking of
no,
Tom King
hold on,
ruining
hold on.
things-
Wait, Dalton,
Got it.
Eric, I don't even see how you can even say that. DC Comics for a long time has made it so if you're black, you're writing black characters. If you're gay, you're writing gay characters. There's no way they're going to let Tom King write a male character.
That's how's that a disagreement? Tom King hasn't written a man since like the first 10 issues of Batman.
So you're saying Tom King can only write inhuman blobs of indistinct flesh? Yeah, that tracks.
The only characters Tom King can write are people who don't know if they're trans yet. That's
jeez.
That's it. Am I a woman? Am I a man? Am I? No. I'll just.
All right, let's get to X-Men. Let's get the show
Are you
on the road.
interested?
Really?
No, you're boring.
Okay, so
Come here.
so we're starting to talk about Gail Simone now.
We're 22 minutes into the video. We should actually get to the thumbnail. Is that what you're saying?
May
The
have.
thumbnail and title?
Well, I'm just trying to help things along. Otherwise,
All
we'll
right.
just
So okay, once again, if you see something, say something. Are you guys sure? Are you guys sure we want the X-Men? Because I've got this all ready and fired up.
Oh no!
Oh God!
I
We
mean,
might as
you know,
well get
there's
like 4 or 5 of these done while we're at it, and just break it up.
there is a lot of bad to go around. Okay, so in the free comic book day, we're not going to start at the very beginning because that goes into Blood Hunt. We're going to start at the Gail Simone. And just to burn through it, I'll read through it. If you guys have something to say, say it. So it starts off in, I guess this is Jubilee on a motorcycle
Jubilee.
now.
Yep.
Staring at what looks like the X-Mansion being surrounded by a whole bunch of soldiers. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. Are you supposed to say spoke?
What?
Did like literally, can we not get away from the first box without there being something?
Spake
No,
is
no,
not
no,
even
no,
grammatically correct there.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I always heard. I've always
I
heard
have spake is how that's supposed to go. But
Ain't
yeah.
like in a coma because
We're not even out of the first freaking word box.
and there's already mistakes to be pointed at.
Okay.
did no one teach anyone basic past participle tensing in English class?
Hey,
Because I
Gail
remember that.
Simone's been a writer for what has it
Gail
been now,
Simone
20
doesn't
years?
need no English.
No, like 30 plus years.
Me and
We
speak
need to
English good.
congratulate Marvel.
All right. So it says, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put childish things away or put away childish things. I got to admit,
no.
this has destroyed a lot of generations, this whole thought, because it means basically, you're an adult, you take responsibility, all the things.
Repress
that you have
everything
fun
you
with.
enjoy.
Ours is the first generation who said, you know what? I am an adult. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to play video games and read comics. Well, we had childish things. Okay, go on ahead.
I was going to say, well, some people misconstrue that particular quote from C.S. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
That's because what he's actually conveying is don't forget your inner child, and it's like putting things that are considered childish in order to be shown to be as a mature adult. That's very childish because that's not what being mature is.
Because you're more concerned at that point with the things that are supposedly mature than actually just being a full-fledged, fully rounded human, which is the very definition of mature, to be a fully rounded human and not to give a shit what people think about what you like.
So
But anyway.
I have made it. And it goes on to say, and we had childish things, oh, my brothers and sisters and X. and we see a soldier approach her. This area is restricted, miss. Nothing to see here. And she says, sure, big guy, nothing to see. All as we see the mansion being dismantled. We had a castle, towers, and everything. We had our own sky chariot. They never let me fly it, though. Frankly, I got to tell you something. I am okay with the whole, holy shit, they've got a big-ass jet right in the middle of this this school, and they're training kids to be paramilitary. I am A-okay with the government stepping in and going, hold on, this ain't right.
Then again, if you actually wanted to address that argument, you might end up with an allegory about why it's not a good idea to train teenagers to be activists, and we can't have that in today's day and age.
Oh yeah. Well, also like that back then, like before like the retcon pulled by Hickman, you know, on Moira, she acted as Charles's Jiminy Cricket to give him a reality check.
Yeah, but can we also say though, this is Gail Simone speaking. This is not Jubilee speaking.
Yeah.
Because Jubilee would never use that quote.
Oh, we had a castle and a sky chariot. It's like, oh god.
Yeah. That is incongruent with Jubilee's character.
Yeah.
And by the way, there is people who have personal jet fighters. That's true. Particular people had jet fighters, even tanks.
Yeah, they're usually warlords
That's
in African countries.
What they aren't is teachers at a school.
In the US, I know a guy who is a collector who has
historical jets.
Okay, but he's not allowed to oversee children with those around, is the thing.
Right. So it goes on to say we had a dragon, more than one actually. I'm not going to think about that. And for a while, just a whisper of a while, we even had a homeland. Aurora once told me it took 8 months to get a permit for the Blackbird hangar and 3 years to build it. They put up this fence in 3 days somehow. Amazing the initiative you can find when the goal is fencing people in. Okay, I like that. Eric, I've got to ask you.
I am just gonna say one thing. I'm gonna
Dalton. Let me ask my question. Because Eric, like myself, or LK, we're a bit older. We've been around the X-Men for a long time, especially back in their heyday. We were, a lot of people could read them, but we were there experiencing it firsthand. What do you feel about the tearing down of Professor X and his dream of the mutant kind?
At this point, I don't care because he became the villain.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Worse than Magneto somehow.
Well, because his intentions were good to begin with, so Magneto has flirted with doing the right thing. Xavier had always done the right thing, and then he just threw all of that away due to bad writing and Jonathan Hickman's less is still idea. But I digress.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. I said it's although at this point it's hard for me to care one way or another about anything Marvel's doing anyway. But if I did, I wouldn't have a problem with this.
Yeah. Well, and more importantly too, it goes again to modern writing of they've torn Xavier down. There has been no signs whatsoever of building him back up, of letting him even approach being the leader, the compassionate person that Charles Xavier that we know. And
well, it's even maybe more than that when you consider that it's probably related to the shift in what activism is now, because Charles is supposed to be the good guy, quote unquote. These writers have to change him to make him their definition of good, and their definition of good doesn't have compassion for people who are in the wrong, doesn't have compassion for people who think differently, doesn't have compassion for people that aren't 100% ideologically pure. Therefore, you have to make Charles Xavier into a freaking quasi-warlord, because apparently violence in the name of activism is good now, don't you know? We had an academic meeting on it.
Also, we're in a generation, we have a generation here who believe that MLK was a bad guy because he didn't go far enough in his activism.
Yeah.
And if you go through what they are saying and what they believe about the X-Men, it's false. How Magneto is Malcolm X and MLK is Charles Xavier. They've made MLK the bad guy, so now Charles Xavier gets to follow. So it goes. You see one of these sentries saying she's leaving, permission to stand down. Then we see this black girl in what looks like Professor X's office saying, permission granted, sentry, if you return, shoot her. Oh, okay. The dude with her looks like Caliban. Is this, what's her name? The perfect girl from Gen X a long time ago?
No.
Monet or...
No.
Wait,
this is
no,
somebody.
that's not her.
Orcus,
Okay.
the organization that took down Krakoa and took down the X-Men.
Oh, okay. Because that looks like Caliban right there. And he's saying, I couldn't read her, Karina. I'm sorry. It was like she wasn't there at all. It says, well, that would be Jubilation Lee then. Jubilee, nothing too dangerous. Makes fireworks displays, I believe, but still interesting. By the way, I would like to see more mutants with benign powers. She'll be back. She won't be able to help herself, she says. It's time to check on our guests. I'm tired, Karina. I'm so tired. I know, Philip, but I'm afraid you're needed for a while. And we see what looks like the Blob, considering the name.
Might be Bastion, actually. Isn't Philip his first name?
Oh, Bastion is the old guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a second. Is this the X-Men Faith crossover?
Yes, this is a topless shot of Faith right now.
Yeah.
And Trent, do me a favor.
gods.
No, we found Gail Simone's self-insert.
Yikes. And have this mahogany coffin of an office completely gutted, please. I want this room looking like an IKEA catalog by Friday. Are we clear? Did she? I'm tough talking. You need to go and buy furniture from IKEA. I mean, what else are you saying? Or do they literally want to make the room look like a catalog?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
fresh
Gail
on order
Simone
lunch,
trying
too.
to do Joss Whedon.
In today's episode of San Francisco Problems, for some reason in a superhero comic,
Okay, so it says no sense on lingering in the past here. No, we're going to go to IKEA, which has been out of date for like 40 years now. Jubilee's driving away saying, I don't wear the X anymore. I don't even know if there's an X-Men left to quit, really. But I did get a phone call a couple of days ago. Holy crap, those guys swerved on purpose. Guys are yelling at her, get off the fucking road. Ha ha, get her, Todd. Burn her down, bro. I guess we're going to get motivation. They stayed just long enough to call me every name. Just hateful for the fun of it. Well, they missed one slur, to be fair, mutie. So literally these guys were like, let's kill somebody on a motorcycle.
But here's the thing, though.
Makes no
If
sense.
you read it closely,
No,
they
it doesn't.
didn't know she was a mutant. They're just being
Yeah.
jackass, I'll say high schoolers or college kids that we've seen in 100 different movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're James Spader from Name the 80s movie.
Or it's 2024, so they're just white guys.
Well,
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Not
can't
from Ole
they
Miss
can't
on it.
write anyone who disagrees with them as a freaking human. They have to write them as these mustache twirling evil caricatures of
It's because they live in a
Negro
bubble.
thugs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
oh yeah.
don't
I mean,
worry-
as
don't worry, they
Glenn
return.
O'Leary once said, like with these writers, like even like the old one, like the veterans who have drunk the Kool-Aid, they're not writing for like fans anymore. They're writing for themselves.
See, these
Well-
books used to have diversity. They say that they're just now getting diversity in comics. Because back in the day, if there were a carload of thugs, there would be like 2 or 3 different races represented.
Yeah.
Can I
It
say
was
something?
it was like a Benetton ad of
Yeah.
thuggery.
Go on ahead, cartoons. What's up?
I think after the pandemic, they go to a bubble so close they don't even go outside. They buy Uber Eats or other types of apps for food, but they never go outside and talk to no one outside of the bubble on Twitter or in the WhatsApp, and that's it. They don't
Well,
talk to no one who disagree with them. I go to the groceries and I meet people who are left wing right wing, whatever, but they don't go outside, and that's the problem. I think
Yeah.
That's
that's why
actually
they
a
are
very
so insane.
That's
Well,
actually a very good point, and it explains why every single problem they write has to be a reframing of a modern day like California problem. Because they literally don't have any sort of erudition or life experience or even like intellectual curiosity to understand anything that isn't
see, I'm
a
going to disagree with all
San
of you
Francisco
here.
hipster problem.
I'm going to disagree with you all. They wrote. I mean, let's face it. Everyone here, we're all white here, according to the writers. This is the way you act. You know this. How many times have you
Congratulations,
been?
Dominic?
Well, I said according to the writers. He doesn't have the proper politics to be Latino. Neither one of them do.
Lol.
Neither cartoons or comics or Dominic have the proper politics to be Latino. They're white. Good Lord in heaven. Yeah, this is pretty bad.
We're politically white.
Yes, there you
See?
are. There you are. Yes. Dark Admiral is saying, I still see people wearing masks outside. Look, I got to defend something. My daughter wears masks now, but that's because when we were supposed to, she found out that it helps her allergies. So now she's, especially in springtime, she'll go outside, she'll wear a mask because otherwise she's one of those people who start sneezing because the wind blows. Next thing, Latina's going to argue that white people talk like in the gangster rap album skits. I would like white people to start talking like 1940s gangster slang all over again. So
Can we
anyway,
bring back the transatlantic accent while we're wishing for things to make it come
yeah,
back?
everybody
I want
should
the transatlantic accent back.
White people should talk like Cary Grant. So Jubilee continues driving on a motorcycle. Nice ass shot. It takes me 15 minutes to find them. I could have blown your tires to the moon, boys. Cheap talk, Jubes, and you know it. And by the way, cheese curds are not great food. You Canadians, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just kidding. Oh, come on.
Fried cheese curds aren't bad. They're pretty good, actually.
You know what? It's a northern thing. I may live here now, but I no.
Jesus.
Okay.
Come on.
Have you ever had mozzarella sticks? Because it's essentially the same thing.
Not the same thing. It is
Not
not
the
the same
same.
thing.
It kind of is, though.
What? Getting back on track.
Canadians are pretty gay though. Fried cheese curls? Actually, I don't. I'm just messing around. I don't mind cheese curds because, of course, they park here.
Oh, yeah.
Pick me.
Okay, go, Eric.
Are you surprised, because I am, that there's not some poor out-of-breath person in a wheelchair huffing and puffing by the spots they couldn't get to because of the white assholes?
I know.
I mean, how much more on the nose can this be?
We haven't gotten villainy.
To show up, Eric. That's what happened there.
We haven't gotten villainy like this since Dudley fucking Do Right with his Snidely Whiplash smile. It's just yeah. So
I'm sorry. Here's a real quick question because again, I catching this, I read this once, so this is my second time. When she says it took me 15 minutes to find them, at first I didn't necessarily put it together, but I'm thinking now that instead of her, just riding along and, she's going to stop someplace and, look, here they are. I'm getting the impression that she was looking for them.
Looking for them. Yeah. Like this isn't on the same road because you would figure if they were even with the speed that they were driving, unless she stayed there for about 10 minutes, she got on her bike and she started driving after them. So there would be no way there was a 15-minute break between them arriving at one spot and her arriving at one spot. So they must have turned off and she decided, you know what, and I'm going to look for them.
No.
Yes.
But then though they try to hide that.
Why?
Because, but you're not going to hurt them because of the code and all this. So then they try to make it seem like, she just conveniently ran into them again.
No.
But I think she was actively hunting them.
Because, of course, they park here. You won't hurt them, Jubilation, or their car because of the code. The code of a mutant with no backup anywhere on Earth. But no one says, I can't have a tuna melt, right? And she walks into the diner. The lady says, sit anywhere she wants. And she sits right next to or in front of the guys behind him, whatever. Hey, girlie, that's quite a look you have. And she apologizes, and then we see the guy. It's putting me right off my feed, to be honest. Either she's a mutie or she just escaped from the zoo somewhere. Okay, and she's got
Okay, wait, stop. I need to examine this for a second. Are you honestly trying to tell me in this book that is set in the Marvel Universe that mutants are the only ones who dress up in weird costumes or eye-grabbing costumes?
She could be an alien, for all we know.
Yeah, the entire rest of the Marvel Universe would like to work with you on this assumption of yours. What the hell?
And I owe Gail an apology.
Or any human.
Really?
You
What
could
is
say,
the
hey, I'm not
apology
a mutant,
for?
I'm a human.
The first guy to the left there is not white.
That's right. Yeah.
No. Completely
Okay,
white.
but he is not the one who does the bad insult. He's just like, quite a look. Yeah, you could even take that as, hey, you're kind of hot. I'm a bit of a furry.
But he was in. I'm just going to assume he was in the car that parked over the two handicap spots. So.
But once again, I'll point out, I will point out that it wasn't the black guy that was, or the Latino. I don't know what they're going to make it, but it wasn't him that was hanging out the window yelling.
LK's read it. Does he end up sticking up for the girl?
No.
Well,
I was just
hold on. Don't spoil it.
Angleton. Let me explain.
Cartoons.
Nobody in that table is black or Latino. They're all politically white. Understand?
Okay, there you go. Yes, sir.
I mean, since most of us haven't read like the current X-Men stuff, I mean, this is, basically from what I've kind of gathered a little bit, basically, there was this corporation or this group, Orcus. They're the ones that exposed the mutants and exposed Krakoa for what it was, to the rest of humanity. So there is, whether you want to say it's justified or not, there is a lot of fear and hatred right now amongst humans for mutants. So that's what they're trying to play off, I think, on this. It's not just the normal hatred of mutants.
So we find out.
No, I read the Krakoa to the end, but and I need to say during most of the last 4 or 5 chapters, I was screaming, "Go Sentinels!"
Okay, guys. Let me continue. There, we do find out that the girl is the waitress's mom, and the mom's apologizing. She's not a mutant. She has a skin condition. And then the Jubilee's thinking, "Don't apologize, don't apologize." And then the most unbelievable thing happens. I have been to many an American diner. No, you could get a tuna melt, but there's no way you're getting a fucking boba tea at a goddamn Waffle House.
I know, right,
bro? That zebra girl could shoot freaking baby zebras out of her ass fully grown, and that'll be the least believable thing so far in the diner. Other than you're getting a boba tea at a fucking Waffle House.
I was actually going to mention this when they first introduced the diner concept. Because I was going to say I was surprised they even know that diners are still a thing. But this just goes to prove they don't, in fact, know that diners are still a thing. They just know that those were a thing, and they must be exactly like the Jamba Juice that I get my boba tea from right down the street or something. Like, that's how these writers think, yet again. Sheltered hipsters are sheltered hipsters.
Well, they do in the sense of diners are still a thing and commonly known in the East Coast. But yes, a diner in the middle of nowhere in upstate New York, because that's where the Xavier Mansion is. Is not going to have boba tea.
I've got news for you. The diners in the South aren't going to fucking have boba tea either. So she says, "Don't apologize to us. Apologize to her." Talking about the zebra girl. "I need to know, Uva. Turn around. Look at me. There you go." And she holds her hands like, basically, it's like Ronnie James Dio concert, but you're celebrating the devil rather than we rock. And she does the sign. Okay, so this is the problem for me, and I know a lot of people have made fun of, it's the mutant sign. So now at conventions you're going to see people, I'm a mutant, I'm a mutant, I'm a mutant.
for the Looney
Yeah, but
Tunes.
only few people would do that, while most would not.
Now, here's the thing. This is the same thing as Gail trying to get Wang to be a freaking to get Wang as some sort of slang term that people are going to be saying. Sorry.
So you're saying they're trying to make fetch happen?
She is trying to make fetch happen, and it's not happening. I'm sorry, Gail.
She's not the
Not
only one.
happening,
She's
guys.
not the one that started this, but yeah, they're desperately. The X office is desperately trying to make this happen.
First, you got to
Yeah,
make
gonna
people
happen.
interested in the X-Men, and that hasn't happened for a long time. I'm going to take a little pause here to say hello to Maranya, saying no self-respecting diner would ever serve boba tea. I don't care if it's L.A. or New York City; they would never have it. By the way, this week I decided to make my I always buy next week's auction, and I usually do collections, but this week I decided to make it 2 books, and unfortunately I got outbid by only about $5 or $6 on both of them. One was the second appearance of Iron Man, and the other one was the first appearance of Mandarin. Neither one of them in excellent condition, but still in good enough condition to sell it. But I had put in because the Mandarin's first appearance, the cover was detached and split, but the cover looked great in the bag, so I thought, okay, I'll put it there. And I put in like a $55 bid, and it sold. Actually, Iron Man 2 went for a little bit more because the second appearance, because I put a $55 bid on that one, and it went for $90. And it also had the same problem because I thought, you know what, I could probably sell those for $100 each, and that'll be the net. But yeah, unfortunately, I lost them. I lost out. I would have loved to have had those books. Anyway. So she marks herself as a mutant, and we continue. Hey, Todd, isn't that the little road tramp? Says the not Latino black guy. It is. Can't get enough of me, I guess, he says, rubbing what should be
Road tramp,
And I'm sorry.
you say.
I just
What no human would ever say, even in the most cliche of 1950s pastiches.
Well, I think LK brought up that she's still trying to do Joss Whedon speak.
Yeah.
Not working.
But I didn't realize, look how fat and dumpy they drew Jubilee in that panel.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, the art is not really consistent because, yeah, I remember even on the back, with her jacket, it's not that frumpy.
No, and
No.
she looked much skinnier in other panels. I mean,
Dominic,
That's
don't
the
you know
color.
that aesthetic
No, well, they got her
consistency
kind
in
of
art
frumpy
is
in the
a
first one.
That's a colorist problem, I think, and I don't know. They might be using some kind of
Totally.
AI to finish it, because if you see, the drawing of the character is the same. The problem is how they're using shadows and coloring.
Yeah,
Editorial
again,
talk,
it's
guys.
as an artist, it makes it stick out like a sore thumb.
Unironically, AI would not be this incompetent. This is a deliberate choice because something beauty standards and aesthetic consistency are social constructs that we need to abolish.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
but the problem is
incompetence.
AI has problems drawing knees and hands. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
So she says, listen, this is weird, but do you maybe have any ice cream in the back? Ice cream with tuna? Yeah, don't mix it, bitch. I'm not saying that. Just I want some tuna and then maybe some ice cream. What's the fucking problem? I would actually have a problem with this. Don't be that dumb, okay? I had a tuna sandwich. Now I want some fucking ice cream. Where do you get? Are you literally? Okay. never mind.
Reminds me of that one Jack Nicholson scene in the diner where he's trying to convince them to get him.
Put the chicken between your legs. I don't care. Bring me the bread. Uva, you made the M our version of the Midnight Bark. What, like 101 Dalmatians? I can get you out of here if it's not safe. I know people. And the girl says, I can never do that to my mom. And she's like, look, X-Men have been kidnapping kids since Krakoa started. And just like that, my heart rips open, loyal to the lady who's more worried about what people think than who her daughter is. Fuck you, Gail Simone, because that's it. This is a modern day thing where they're talking about, look, if your parents don't accept every little bit of you, if they see you not as somebody who can improve and become a better person, if they see you as anything less than the perfection you see yourself, which, by the way, if you do, you're doing something wrong.
Narcissism. Yeah.
You need to leave your parents.
My grandpa would completely beat you up and say, "Oh, if you say I am perfect," no, he'll say, "Shut up, do more 10 miles of exercise and better your leaders and your drown." My grandfather, he was a college teacher of arts, and he was in World War II, so the standards are pretty high for a guy like that. And I am not perfect, and he wasn't either, and he knew it. This
One thing else.
generation needs a good beat up on them.
Also, the whole thing is self-segregating. And that, my friends, is absolutely different than what Charles Xavier was about. We want to help you so you can be a part of society. Modern day, they're seeing this as, they're seeing everybody as horrible. They're seeing this as heroic. You need to move away from society.
Because
I
society
think
bad,
that-
don't you know?
Yeah.
I think onto that, like even in the original Lee and Kirby run of the X-Men, you see that the entire world doesn't hate or fear mutants. You have some, sure. However, whereas others, like in those early issues, you actually see people actually liking and appreciating the X-Men. Like I remember, like one panel, like young girls were actually swarming over Warren, or even members of the military or rescue services actually helping the X-Men as much as they could. So it shows you back then that not everyone was against the X-Men or mutants in general.
Well, that's the thing. Modern day writers cannot cope with the idea that someone is not defined by their quote unquote oppression. That's why I would suggest, if you actually want to move the X-Men franchise forward, start treating mutants like they're already normal. Because even with or without the sliding timescale, mutants have been around for a jolly long time now, haven't they? And I'm sure in a more modern context, if we actually had mutants, people would start accepting them, let alone the people who would actively start fetishizing them because they're people with goddamn superhuman powers, for God's sake.
So,
I think on that.
Come on.
Eric,
Come
go
on.
ahead, and then we'll move on.
Okay, let's say one of the reasons why you get this, Dalton, is because modern writers, you probably said they have no life experience. They've done nothing but grow up in front of a keyboard. All the characters that they write that have been around forever, they have these like perceptions of them. Like if you're thinking about Storm, it's the Mohawk Storm from the 80s, or if it's Peter Parker, it's like the early Ditko. It's like these characters don't get to move on because they write them in like a regressed state. And but also, as I say, that this is the perfect comic book for 2024 because it combines the two greatest loves of modern writers: food scenes and shitting on straight men.
I get paid quite a bit for one of those. Okay, so anyway, the other guys, they're saying, hey, muted girl, why don't you fix us some pile of mode before you head back to the barn? Jubilee says she needs to leave, but I can't leave her with these sack of trash. I guess these means no sandwich. Okay, so she just pulled a water spigot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's not a fire hose.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
no diner water spigot is shooting water out
It's
that
a
big.
big
This would
wagon.
break
Lack of life
the
experience.
plates and the cups.
Yeah. So the guys get wet, and they apparently can't walk on water the way she can. And with these speed lines behind her, is she running as fast as the Flash? That's just bad art right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let me say this: go back a little bit, you will see the colors of the zebra girl change many times to black, to green, to
green.
blue. Yeah.
Again, where's the consistency?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a colorist problem also, you see.
And then look at the splash panel. Look at how they drew the girl.
Well, which one?
No. Go back down. When Jubilee's giving him the shower. That panel.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yes.
Not great. Not great.
Where's the
So
face?
she's talking about stay hidden, keep your mouth shut. Hey Todd, guessing this is your daddy's rig, am I right? Sweet ride man, and she blows up his car. Yes, Todd. All of a sudden we're in Christmas vacation here. Yes, Todd. And if you ever come back here again or hurt that little girl's feelings, I might actually lose my tender temper.
Wasn't the asshole standing character in She-Hulk also named Todd? I believe he was.
Now, hold on, wait a second. Now, it's not my tender temper because they've embolded it. So it's my tender temper. So like, what do we are the social media?
Okay. So again, they said, words versus the destruction of property.
Action,
and
yes.
they're the good guys. But I don't it's the default setting for modern writers with mutants is that they're hated and feared because that's what it was in the 60s. And it's like racism has there's so much money in grievance now in the real world that it's never going to not be like this in modern comics as long as the people.
Yeah, they said something mean and she blew up a car. Which, by the way, if that car is actually that close to the diner and it blew up, the diner has no more windows. So she has already messed up this Rhaegar's pushing.
She's an arsonist now.
She's already destroyed their dishwasher, or at least their dishwasher hose. She's caused water damage to the booth and such, and now she's blown out their windows with an explosion. She set the diner's parking lot on fire. There's no way that diner is continuing service through the night, so they lost a night's wages, all because she got offended.
Yeah, and the only thing that
that's
could have been
modern day writing.
Go ahead, Eric.
If the girl, if the waitress there, if instead of her mom, since Jubilee was basically trying to replace the algorithm, let the government replace the parents. Yeah, it would have been if it had been her father and he was like the cook, and she was and he was a jerk too. So that's about the only thing I can't believe Gail didn't think of for this scene.
Yeah.
Which, aside from anything else, this is a strict violation of Stan Lee's razor here. This is someone using superhuman powers to commit an act of arson because they were pissed.
Oh, Stan Lee groped his nurses.
Okay, but between that and between the fact that I know where they're going with this, which is violence is the language of the unheard, they have completely lost the plot and completely inverted Stan Lee's razor. It's now the victimized have an obligation to destroy shit that is oppressing them.
This is the worst. Well, I would say I almost said this is the worst first issue I've ever had the misfortune of being a part of reading. But I'm sure there are plenty of Marvels worse than this in the last 6 months. But this is awful.
So she says, stay out of trouble. It's not perfect, but it'll have to do. And you see Jubilee. Hey, Logan, it's me. Mission's ongoing. Turns out, tell Rogue I'm in. For Uva, for all of us. And we get this. Oh, Dr. Ellis, we may need to update the file on Jubilee's power set, I should think. And let's see. One thing I'll say about mutants, they know how to keep a secret. The files we have are outdated and incomplete. Some proper interrogation procedures will help us. So what? They got immediate word about her blowing up a car? How is our little guest today? Perimeter protocols at max. If she's got any complaints, doctor, she hasn't mentioned it, and we see it's Siren.
Yep.
Let's see. Dr. Ellis, are you certain this is a good idea? You're still thinking like an inmate, Philip. Perhaps I should go back to calling you Scurvy. Stand to the side, please, sentries. And she walks down. I know you can hear me in there, she says as she puts her hand on a red wall. I hope you're settling in well. I'm sure this may be awkward for you, your world falling apart. My advice to you is get comfortable, get submissive, and just and get adjusted to the idea you are never leaving this room again. Do you hear me? Never again! And it says Inmate X. And who is it?
Magneto.
It's You think it's Magneto? Maybe it's Xavier. Who would it be? But yeah, you're right. Okay, here's there you go, gang. That's Free Comic Book Day X-Men. Kind of give you an idea of where Gail Simone's taking it.
They get this away for free, and I still feel ripped off.
Here's the thing. You mentioned how this was a bad first issue. It's I got to say, it absolutely is, because what's the story? Like, what is the story of Gail Simone's X-Men? Because all they did was show an incident. There's no overarching. We're not like if you went back to the 1980s and you watched, say, the Fantastic Four cartoon, they showed you immediately that it's going to be Fantastic Four trying to stop Doctor Doom from taking over the world. Very simple. But you got the idea. This is what this series is going to be about.
This is the plot. This
didn't really do that. This really didn't tell you this is what. If they stayed with the M character, Bastion, whomever they were, and they were talking about the mutant menace, they were talking about how, okay, we killed a lot of mutants on Krakoa, but now we need to hunt them down. Okay, X-Men on the run. People are hunting them down. Premise stated, but you have no idea. This should have sold us on what the premise was. It did not do that in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. What?
Oh, this was a failed attempt of recapturing the outlaw X-Men era after the fall of the mutants.
Really? I think it had more. I think it has. This they can only be written one way now. They run across people, humans. Humans are all, every human they encounter are all racist, bigot, homophobe, whatever, mutant, whatever phobes, and they're all gonna be like this. This is so fucking regressive. That this was
Okay,
awful.
okay. I will try something. I will try to rewrite with what we have, and will be better. In the beginning, you only show the dinner and the motorcycle incident before, and then you don't show who is. You don't show Jubilee. You don't know who is. And then you have the incident in the car, and the zebra girl. You show the annoying day more. And then you show the mansion being closing down and that discourse. I doing this as an editor, and then you begin to show other mutants trying to react but stay under the radar. That would be better. That would be with what we have. But the editorial in Marvel is so bad, they don't even notice that. They don't know basic history telling.
Well,
It's
because
impressive how bad they are.
Because they basically, and this is a modern day writing problem, they almost always publish the rough draft because they do not care about things like in-universe implications or in-universe logic. They only care about art as a means to an end. And so my first idea must be the correct idea because I am the embodiment of whatever identity group I'm a part of. Therefore. And the editors, the ones that are competent enough to do their jobs, are probably scared shitless to do anything, because if you criticize the artistic vision of Gail Simone or Ta-Nehisi Coates or whomever the fuck, then you're a bigot. Then you're enforcing white conventions of storytelling onto a marginalized story, blah, blah, therefore.
Yeah. Well, so one thing I think to kind of keep in mind too, and I was thinking about this more. So Gail Simone is writing the one where the X-Men team led by Rogue is going to be based in New Orleans. I'm pretty sure, based on this little 10-page teaser here, that she's going to use Jubilee as basically the reader's character. That we're supposed to interpret everything that we see in that book through Jubilee's eyes. That that's going to be the representation, and God help us.
And of course, her main ethos is going to be violence is the language of the unheard. I'm justified in having this chip on my shoulder because that's literally the only story that they can or want to tell.
When you have two groups pitted against each other, aren't you supposed to be able to root for one of them? Isn't that kind of one of the tenets of writing usually, or do we just root for? If this were a hockey game, I'd be rooting for the Zamboni. You run over all of them. I said this is because I remember Jubilee was always kind of annoying, but I don't ever remember being a vindictive little see you next Tuesday. Justified or not, or
sociopath, I don't remember.
They're sociopathic. What?
Said she's grown up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess being a vampire will do that to you, but
she was mostly annoying in the old X-Men show because she was supposed to kind of be the audience's POV character. Therefore, she was coded as very, very Gen X-y.
But she was kind of a neat kid, though. I mean, I said, but back then, the writing was so much better.
It really was.
This is. I mean, mutant human relations are so much worse now than they were. 10 years ago with the sliding time scale, kind of like race relations are way worse than they were 10 years ago in the real world. Wonder how we got to that.
And the irony, of course, is it's so much worse only because they presuppose that it should be worse.
And because there's a lot of money to be made. But this is comics, and we know that's not the case.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny. I mean, you say that. Jubilee is going to be the POV character in Uncanny X-Men, and it's going to be she's basically a Columbia University protester. That's going to be her
Antifa X-Men.
They wanted her to be the POV, but she's turned out to be the POS.
Yeah,
but like every character they write, because they literally cannot write characters that have a decent moral compass, because their moral compass is so warped by ideology that they don't even know that they're the villains anymore.
Yeah,
and also the cake is they are very incompetent. So incompetent, I can do a better job than them. And I do children's book, guys.
Well, because
you
actually prioritize competence. You actually consider competence to be a virtue. These people literally ideologically do not find what we would consider competence to be a virtue. They consider what we consider competence to be oppressive norms of society that need to be broken. Therefore,
it just goes to show they have a very myopic, narrow, and short-sighted view of like how objective morality and reality works, as well as social norms. It's not what they think, because they actually provide order as well as they actually help keep things together.
Yeah. And according to them, if it takes a norm to keep something together, then it shouldn't be together, essentially. Society should be nullified because society bad, don't ya know?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to point out, too, I know that I guess Tom Brevoort gave an interview last week, some blog or something.
We're going to do a video on that.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just want to mention again, since I've been, gnashing my teeth about Warren Ellis and Planetary all night. One of the things that was in that interview, he was talking. They asked him, "Well, can you tell us about the X-Force book?" And he said, "Well, the X-Force book, that team, it's going to be kind of like Marvel's version of Planetary." And then in the next breath, he says, "Yeah, they're going to be like a kill squad." And I'm like, "What? What?"
So
I see many more episodes of Bad Comic Beatdown in our future. Okay.
Well,
but that's not who X-Force is.
And it just goes to show how just fundamentally broken these people are in terms of they can't even understand, a book that supposedly they're, basing another book off of.
Because they don't actually like what Warren Ellis did with the concept of Planetary, and they don't even fundamentally like the concept. They just like what they can weaponize it and turn it into and use it as, because they literally do not see any intrinsic value in art or concepts or even politics whatsoever. They only see it as a means to an end.
I asked LK this. I'm going to ask you, Eric, is the other seasoned comic book collector. When was the last time you saw the X-Men? Like what you would consider X-Men? Like when did they go away?
Okay, I liked Brubaker's run when they were out in space, and that was coming off of one of Claremont's returns. I didn't particularly mind the X-Men during the original, like the early 500s issues, although there were a couple of questionable character actions, but it's been at least well over 10 years, and like I said, I honestly didn't see anything in this that made me even remotely want to go back.
The last thing I read that that I was like, okay, this isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad, was House of M. I thought they destroyed the X-Men with Avengers versus X, or Avengers versus X-Men, whatever they call it.
Well, that was 7 years apart.
Yeah.
I like some of the stuff in between, but not,
I didn't read the in-between stuff.
They're never going to recapture what they had in the 80s.
But it was horrible. It was horrible.
I still maintain that the Marvel Universe proper died in 2007.
My second point says Maranya, with what I've seen of this book, is if the mutants want to have a secret sign to Flash for help, use something that is subtle, not an obvious weird. Hey, over here. Yeah, you, me, yeah. By the way, can you not make your mutant sign the fucking shocker? All right, can you keep it away from any? Okay.
I wanted to highlight that because Maranya is. I can tell Maranya is pretty upset that they're using that hand symbol in the chat.
Right, yes. Because she's right, by the way. She mentioned it looks like a fist. An M is like this, by the way. This, like I said, is Ronnie James Dio with a thumb out. There you go.
And Anglantine, in answer to your question, the reason they don't do that, the reason they don't make the symbol subtle, is because proper activism in today's day and age has to be confrontational and abrasive. So they simultaneously have to be confrontational and abrasive while they're allegedly being hunted down.
Just remember, when you are doing the shocker, it's got to be this, okay? Because otherwise, you're talking about divorce. That's okay. You do it this way, you're divorced.
Remember, right. If you move your thumb, if you just move your thumb a little bit, you go from I'm a mutant to I'm a Texas football fan.
There you are. Yeah. Yes. It's not confrontational abrasive. It's flat out stupid is what they use. Exactly. All right. I don't know.
It just goes to show you like how far Gail Simone has really fallen. And
really, seriously, I liked her stuff with Birds of Prey and Villains United and Secret Six and even Batgirl. I went a little bit further than some of you guys, but no. That's
but so even so, like how she got into the comic book industry, well, with hindsight, like they could rub people the wrong way because her whole argument of the women in refrigerators has not only aged very badly, but also it's debunkable.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to show off some the 3 of the 5s and the big dogs for this week. Go on ahead, say your piece there, Mr. LK.
Well, I'm just gonna agree with Dominic, and something that's been talked about is you can make a strong argument she's patient zero.
Yeah, I thought I heard that was what's his name, Diversity in Comics.
Yeah. It started with your boy Zach talking about it. So, I'm hoping he gets well enough here to finish up his spreadsheet.
Rocky Roll Ninja.
I think he's finished that, but he's been working on a spreadsheet trying to chronicle the key events of how the comic industry has, collapsed.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
I got this. This is DC Special Presents number 25, The Three Musketeers and Robin Hood.
Neat.
Wow.
A little more modern, but everybody likes that 2000s run of Ms. Marvel comics, so I grab them wherever I can. This is the issue number 20 zombie variant.
I remember that one.
Oh, awesome.
Still looks better than Captain Marvel.
Fuck
Well,
yes.
I mean, Brian Reed's Ms. Marvel run is a worthy continuation of Chris Claremont's original run.
Now, I've got these separated. Like the only $3 book was that DC Special. This starts the fives, and then I have from least cool to what I figured least cool to most, but you might feel differently. But here's Werewolf by Night number 6.
Ooh.
Sweet.
And then we have Weird War Tales. This is issue number 57.
Neat.
Well, you can't go wrong with that.
And then we have Weird War Tales issue number 52. That looks like the skull from that one Golden Age magazine there. Like they almost...
Oh, but well, if the two combatants were falling out of the eye sockets,
it would definitely be, yeah.
It's a Punch Comics. What you're thinking?
Here we have Blitzkrieg number 5.
Excellent series. Don't look for it to be reprinted, kids.
This would have. This is one of those where he's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that came in this collection. I wish it was in better condition because this is going to be a $5 book when it should be 20 or 30."
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So the first appearance of Red Wolf, but as you can see, it is not in the best of conditions. So, like I said, it's going to be in the $5. Alrighty, starting up some 80. I don't know. This one might still be in the 5. I got to check it out a little bit more. But we have Defenders number 2. So you can see it's definitely got some problems on the side there. What do you think? $5?
Yeah, $5 is fine.
Then I'm starting up with some $8, the $8 books, and we got to go with Jonah Hex number 4. Jonah Hex, he's so hot right now. And I'm not kidding about that. Jonah Hex, the DC books are now the new speculator stop buys, and Jonah Hex has taken a boost. Sergeant Rock, this is Our Army at War, issue number 147.
That is a really cool cover.
I
there's
agree.
2 of these. Somebody did write a date on it, but there you go. There are 2. There's the blue one, and the second part is the red cover. I love this cover, man. And you know what? We need to do a video. Whomever wants to join, definitely Eric. I want to talk to you because we've done the best artist of Superman, and I've done Kirby up and down, left, right, and center. But Herb Trimp just doesn't get the love.
Right? Also, speaking of Herb Trimp, what's the thing in Critical? He actually did a video talking about Herb Trimp.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess I'm a day too late, huh?
Well, no, yeah, it's about how Marvel basically dumped him at age 56, and he had to find another career.
They actually did. They did the same thing with Jack Kirby. After Jack Kirby helped create the Marvel Universe, they did the same thing to him. He was no longer new and fresh. Time to go. But yes,
There's
by the way,
so many stories of comic artists and writers being treated so poorly.
Tell me that is not just a badass cover.
No, it's amazing.
Very glad I got that book.
Name, I believe, wasn't.
From Charlton Comics, ladies and gentlemen, Ghost Manor. Issue number 1. The first issue.
Right.
Charlton book.
Yeah, of the second Ghost Banner series.
Every party has a pooper. That's what we invited you, Eric Breen.
I'm just here to provide a little accuracy.
All right, next up we have
Eric Breen, comic book Wikipedia in human form.
It's Midnight, The Witching Hour. This is issue number 66.
Nice.
Which means it's only worth $5,000.
Curse
The
my lack
Witching
of
Hour.
disposable income.
Forget about it. Okay, so this isn't issue number 1. It's issue number 2 from a comic company called American Comics Group. I'm a little bit disappointed it has a comics code on it, but whichever. And this is called Gasp.
Ooh.
What?
I know, right?
That
Wow.
is cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. Basically, if I can find American Comics Group, I'm snagging it. I'm snagging it.
Lots of very old school and obscure titles tonight, I guess.
Well, you know what? I'm about to show a not so old school, not so obscure, but still kind of cool. I've actually got to find out what date it's from.
Did you pick up that Gasp at that show you went to?
No, this came in a collection. I just bought it. It's random.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a box of bronze, and the only things that I bought specific are the war comics that I'm showing and the whiz bang stuff. But I did get a very shiny silver chromium Lady Death. I think you could make her out
To the point that I can't see it because
Oh
it's
my
too
God.
shiny.
You can only see the outline of Lady Death.
Yeah.
Indistinguishably shiny.
Yes, it is. This is a Lady Death 1 variant. I've got to look into it.
Else?
Yes. Next up, we have Marvel Comics Group. And I guess the theme of today is the Werewolf by Night. Okay. And this is giant size.
Curse my lack of disposable income.
Giant size werewolf number 3, and I'm turning so you can see that there's not a lot of issue with that spine. A lot of these comics, you have issues with spines there. This one's in pretty good condition.
It looks fresh.
I have, since I did that Christmas video, I've become an Enemy Ace fan. And here is All American Men of War, issue number 104. Focus.
Wow.
All right.
And next up, we have our Army at War, issue number 215.
Wow.
Next up, another thing I am a huge fan of is Legion of Superheroes. And this is Adventure Comics, number 379. There we go. Eric, I got to tell you something. Everybody, I got to tell you something. But I know that Eric loves these kind of books. So that's why I call him out. I have never seen this brightly colored World's Finest. I just put my hand on it, realized there's like a subscription crease, but you can't see it. But it's issue number 212 of the World's Finest. Look at how this thing pops.
That's pretty.
Look at that.
That's really pretty. Like, it almost looks like it came just off the printer.
It really does, doesn't it? If it wasn't for the fact that I ran my hands to it, I can feel it, but you can't see it. It is so. That is a gorgeous book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And not to mention that the pencil skip out the details.
I hope I never lose this. You know, I'm already 53. I'm more years behind me than ahead. But there's something about when you get a book, especially an older book, a 20, a 25, even a 12 or a 10, and it's got those bright colors and it looks that freaking good. I don't care what book it is. You know, it's still like, holy shit, that is older than I am, and it looks great. This one's not older than I am though, but
it's not by much. I mean,
I know. I actually had to look at this twice to realize what it was. it I don't think a lot of people are going to be wowed by it because it's not a #1, but it is still it's in great shape, and it is still an issue #2 when we have Jonah Hex. And that is, being an issue #2, it is still going to fetch a pretty price.
Well, just make sure that you don't put that in the lot until the boys are finished reading, because VENKMAN just bought #1.
Really?
Yeah, he probably would like to add #2 to that.
Okay. So I've got two things here. I don't know what to show last because I think I bought something because I was interested in, and I don't think you guys will be as much, but I'm going to go through it. I'll go through that last. But this is something I always wanted, and I'm going to sell it, but I've always wanted for myself because it is an amazing thing that they even did this. Just to describe, I know you're going to get this one. You see a man lifting Superman in a phone booth saying, "Who you kidding, changing to Superman in a phone booth?" And what DC Comics did at one point in time, they called him Captain Strong, but guys, literally, this is Superman versus Popeye. I love this cover. This is just freaking awesome as hell. So here we go. That's going to be in the auction.
That's the thing you can get with the crossover.
That's good. That's actually the big dog this week at a whopping 15. But
That's got a heck of a wingspan.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a sucker for anything old, and I got drawn in. This guy said this is from 1931, so I was like, holy shit, yeah, I'll put a bid on it, and I did. I put like $20 on it because this is inserts from newspapers with the cartoon, the comic sections. And I was like, from 1931, god damn it, yeah. I've been trying to get the Spirit for the longest time, the actual from 1930s, and couldn't. And so I made a bid on this, and then I was searching for it, and it turns out, oh shit, no, it's actually from 1970. It's a reprint. But this guy named Captain George reprinted something called Whiz Bang, which was popular turn of the century. This one's from the 30s. And what it is, it's reprints of the 1930s comic inserts that they would throw into the newspapers. See, I thought it was cool. Nobody else did. I get it.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it has all sorts of different things. We've got this one, which is I think this is issue number 13. Yeah, issue number 13, and it's magazine size. And then we have a reprint of the July 1931 issue of Life magazine, which would have been put into the newspapers along with it. A little crossword there, not done. And it's got comics and all sorts of pulp stories and so forth. And I just thought this was fascinating.
When the reprint is old enough to be cool.
I know, right? The reprint's 50 years old. This is 1970. This is me. This is it's 53 years old.
Well, let's hope there's not any reprints anytime soon there.
And as Maranya is saying here, the 1931 original would be the same age as William Shatner.
So we have another comic book insert from this is Mutt and Jeff. And of course, it's got the Cats and Jammer Kids advertisement on the back. And yeah, you get some. By the way, I don't know if any of you youngsters ever read Mutt and Jeff, but they are actually a fun comic, and it reprints that as well. See, I'm fascinated by this. And
the history
we even
aspect,
we have Happy Hooligan on one side, and then we've got the Yellow Kid on this one. And I was contemplating just selling them individually, but I think I'm going to sell the pack for like I don't know, $20-25. I think this is pretty Interesting. This one has a whole bunch of different comics in it. And yes, I opened it just to show off that what would now be considered an incredibly racist cartoon right there. And then finally, some of you may have seen Golden Age Flash Gordon comics. You haven't. The artist named. Okay. Let me highlight. He breened us.
I was getting tired of holding it up.
There you go.
But yeah, you asked, so I had to. I had to reach into the couch.
We asked and it was given.
Yes.
Yep. All righty, and the artist's name is Alex Raymond, and they have this Alex Raymond portfolio, which has a lot of the art from the Captain Marvel, the Flash Gordon comic strips. So, all right, well there you go.
Very cool.
That
Art
is
so good. It's
Beautiful.
it really is a shame to see literal like newspaper comics from almost a century ago look better than modern day comics, even though
Who
they're
has
like
better tech?
10
Who
times the price.
has technology far beyond anything they had. And
Not to mention 1,001
some
examples
of
to
them
follow
have
if they
more
wanted it.
time.
well. I think
Some of them
things.
had more time to make the comics than they had during that time. That's insane to me.
Things were built to last back then.
Well, and they're also a lot more effort went into a lot of that stuff because I mean that was you would think it would be different now because there's so much competition for entertainment. But when basically it was the only game in town for some kids, other than like the theater. But these are almost all works of art.
Yeah.
And not to mention they were made to be timeless as well.
And mostly
What a difference a philosophical outlook makes. When you actually prize competency, beauty, and excellence, you get competency, beauty, and excellence. When you consider those things to be oppressive, you get shit.
About the only thing from this stuff that is not held up are some of the racial caricatures and stereotypes. But the ideas behind most of just like the art styles, stuff like that. I mean, they're beautiful. And I said it's just so much effort went into those.
So yeah, those are the big dogs. It's one of those. This one right here definitely is a case of I was lucky enough to get it inexpensive, so I could be inexpensive. But I got to tell you, I was so happy. I want to read this. This is the book I want to read through. We did a bad comic beatdown. Can we do good books? Not to beat down, just to comment on and to have fun with. We could do these. As well.
It was good books appreciation.
Yeah,
I'm
something along
here
those.
for that.
Being fat and sitting in a bar, looking fat and behaving fatly. No, okay, so he's a little bit behind. Back in the day, comic book artists were trained in commercial art along with classical art, and it shows. One thing, I'm reading Joe Simon's biography, and it's a fascinating book. One of the things that really that got to me is they would work for different publications, Fox Publications, Marvel, so forth, but it was of course Atlas Time. And what they would do is they bought an office. So after work, they would go to the office and they would write and draw and they would bank comics. And they would just put it up because they figured there would be a dry spell at a certain point and they could just bring something out and they'll go around and sell it. Captain America, by the way, was one of those things. It wasn't a, hey, we're going to do this. Can we get an artist and a writer? It was, we need a patriotic superhero. And they just so happened to have Captain America sitting on a shelf. I think that kind of thing is very, very interesting. Reading, so, yeah. I don't know why I brought that up. I forgot, but it was there. It's a rejoinder to Dalton. Okay, sorry. That being said, anything, I hope y'all guys found something cool. I like the war books myself and the Popeye. But there you go.
That model is what independents do now. I have 5 or 6 characters who one I am being successfully to sell to an publisher here. I do mostly kids book, but I have a bunch of superheroes and even an horror character. I do this on my own home, you know. Independents do
Well,
this now. The big
with
ones don't do this.
with people now, modern writers and artists not being able to hit a deadline to the point where 1 month you get one artist on a book and the next month you get another one. I can't imagine anybody sitting back and banking comics. It's like, no, that's too much work. You know, and why would they do it if they're not getting paid already?
Well, because they literally don't care about the medium. That is another difference between people now and back in the day. Back in the day, even if you couldn't, sell a character, you wrote more of the character because you really liked the character, and then when you got picked up, then it was like, oh, good, I got picked up. Now here's my entire omnibus life take on this character that I've been working on, waiting for somebody to pick up. But they don't actually care about characters or worlds or anything like that anymore. And it's sickeningly sad, especially because a lot of these new artists come straight out of, Frankfurt School infused art school, where they're taught that art doesn't matter for its own sake, where they're taught that art is a tool and a weapon more than it is anything else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also something to be said too.
Anymore.
But I mean, there's the work ethic. There's also the fact that you used to have the Marvel bullpen, so they were more closely tied to being employees than freelancers, which is what they all pretty much are now, because that's the only way that they, that Marvel and DC can afford to make these books. And there was just a different level, as I say. I mean, lack of a term, kind of just the work ethic. They treated it as a profession, and they strived to do the best that they could. And there's a lot of writers and artists out there working for the big two that are just there to get a line on a resume and, just crap out what they can. And more importantly, too, they're not going to use any of their good ideas with Marvel or DC. Because
there's no point to it now.
Well, because the influence of TV and movies and this idea that, oh yeah, I've got my great personal idea and I'm going to be able to sell this to Hollywood and become the next Mark Millar, or
Yeah, the glory of me rather than the glory of the idea itself.
Well, why not? Look what Marvel and DC are doing to the characters that we love, and also look what they do to the creators. If one thing Marvel and DC should start doing is offering, we'll own or being a publisher like Image, or to offer some sort of larger share to the character. So if it does get to the movies, you get more money. It'd be more of an incentive to go in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's totally open, especially with the fact that they're essentially freelancers now. I mean,
yep.
That's what you can negotiate as part of your contract, but again, so many of these people also don't have business sense, as evidenced by, every week
their
there's
contempt for it,
or a Vita Ayala or a Mags Visaggio post saying, hey, please go to my Venmo, or please go to my GoFundMe because, I need to eat this week. So it's,
and even if the industry was perfect in the way it treated its workers, you'd still currently have the ideological problem. You'd still have the treating art as a means to an end rather than an end in itself problem. That's why I don't really focus on that quite so much, because I know full well that even if you gave these people 6-figure salaries to write their best work, their work would still be ideologically infused, would still be deliberately contemptuous, would still be anti-art, would still be all of the things we hate. It would just be all the things we hate that they now have the creative freedom, quote unquote, to do more of.
But Black Cat, how the industry is now, it doesn't attract competent people. It attracts people who has no idea in business, no idea in editorial, no idea how to sell their product or their ideas. So we end up with an industry who has no future, only past and nostalgia. Unfortunate.
And floor to ceiling ideologues in the meantime.
Well, but there's also the issue
Yeah.
of the editors not essentially being put in a corner.
If
Yeah, I can't
Marvel
forever.
actually dipped into Disney's wallet and paid genuine artistic writing talents the wages they deserve, we'd have better books. Hopefully, it depends on who they're hiring. Are they just gonna give T. Franklin a higher salary, or are they gonna actually go, "Yo, Chuck, we need you back"? Or
That's why I made the ideological point, because
Yeah.
even if you give Ta-Nehisi Coates or Kwanzaa Osai GFO 6 figures, he's just gonna write
He'll
the
still
same
get it,
thing
yeah.
and be
Well-
even more arrogant because he now has 6 figures to blow.
Yeah.
And along with that, though, that would, if that did happen, then suddenly Marvel Comics goes on the radar of the money people at Disney. And when they're not seeing the return on their investment, they're going to go, holy hell, why are we publishing these books? We're better off just shuttering this and licensing out the characters, or just reprinting trades for the next 30 years to keep the
Who would mind that?
copyrights.
Yeah, no, I will literally start a crowdfunding campaign just to buy my characters back so you can't ruin them anymore.
Yeah, but Mario also pointed out that the two of them need to go back to, well, not only get their standards like back up, but also the vetting process of looking for genuine talent. Not only on top of bringing back the veterans.
Well, you're never gonna get that until you literally shutter every art school currently running, because art schools are ideologically corrupted to the point that they literally can even take someone with talent, can even take an idealist who wants to create good art, and turn them into a cynical weaponizer of art, because that's what art theory says art is now.
Oy
So
vey.
you need to actually address the way people are viewing art first, and I think that will make things line up a little bit better.
I need to
Well,
say,
also-
Blackhead, I was lucky because after I finished my school, my pedagogy/art school, I got to work with veterans of editorial kids book from Panini here in Brazil. So I got very lucky, and I truly understood how they did things in the past, and I listened more than I talked. Different than most of Gen Z who I work with. When I talk, or they are glued to their phones, or they never listen to me, or no one who is older.
Well, what do you know about comics?
Oh, holy hell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen this. I got to share this as we're wrapping up.
Okay.
Gods, no. Again.
Thoughts, kids?
DC has revealed that Nightwing got Batgirl pregnant and welcomes their new child to the Batman.
Face palm. Major face palm. Are you
When?
serious, DC?
Do they not know that there's 9 months between the fertilization and the giving birth? Do we have a 9-month missing period of Batgirl?
They just don't care, you see. They had the idea, and as we just went over, they always publish their first draft. And in-universe logic or in-universe implications be damned. Because art is only a means to an end, you see, never an end in itself. Derp.
Yeah.
What-
So is this
how
the
big
final
was this?
arc of Tom Taylor's Nightwing book then?
I would rather see the Dick to go back to Corey Starfire than these writers continuously put him and Barbara back together.
Well, I won't share one of the expos that I saw about how many Bat family members Barbara may have become intimate with.
Okay, MK is asking if I made a video or did I
Gordon
talk
Gordon.
about the Superman suit. Here's my thought about the Superman suit. All right. That's it. I'm sorry. Okay, when I see the movie, I'll have an opinion. But otherwise, yeah, I get it. It's dark. It's another one. We've seen this. At this point, God bless Henry Cavill. I like him as Superman. I actually didn't mind Brennan Ruth as Superman. Nobody is going to be better than Christopher Reeve. It's like the Beatles. Somebody might outsell, but they're never actually going to be as respected and as loved as is the Beatles. It's the same thing with Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve. Hold on, let me finish my rant. With Christopher Reeve, that was a comic book accurate super suit. No muscles. That was all Reeve, baby. It was, and they decided to move away from that and do the fake muscle thing. Now also they've decided to put, well, we need gritty and realism, and so they've toned down on the bright colors. Anybody feel that Captain America and the Avengers stood out because he had a comic book accurate bright blue and red outfit? I loved it, but he did stand out because everybody else was supposed to have their Ultimates gritty kind of look, which of course we did see Captain America wearing in the World War II scenes. As far as what I saw, I didn't have a question about the uniform. The poster had him putting on his boot while there was Brainiac out. That's not how Superman works. Superman's super fast. Zip, he's in his outfit and he's off. So yeah, there shouldn't be Lois, I'm going to be going out for the thing and I've got to do, and here we're going to go. And I'll be back after I stop Brainiac. Okay, let me, and don't forget the underwear over the top. That scene doesn't happen in any comic or any movie because he moves super fast and it should be like it's an instant change. So it's not so much the suit that bothered me, it was the image itself that bothered me. Okay, go on ahead, cartoons. And Dalton, I believe you.
I think James Gunn is confusing with Star-Lord Superman. I think he tried to get at Superman, but he don't get it.
Well,
it's what I say about the Ultimate Captain America. They try to get Captain America, but they don't get it. That's not Captain America. Captain America is this. The Cyclops in the new cartoon is the perfect Cyclops. He is still the Boy Scout, but he will not attract you being mean to him or annoying him.
Well, Captain America.
But he's still hopeful.
Captain America should always be the Boy Scout. Sentry isn't Marvel's Superman. Captain America is.
Well, and
the way that they will both always do the right thing, no matter what. Go on ahead.
And that is a point I was gonna make about your whole Christopher Reeve will never be replaced thing. One of the reasons you're right, and that you in theory shouldn't be right, but one of the reasons you're right is more to do with the fact that they simply don't know how to and or respect Superman as a character. They don't understand altruism. They don't understand idealism. They don't understand how someone can be simultaneously as powerful as he is and also innocent. And therein lies the problem. One of the benefits that Christopher Reeves did have that a lot of the other versions don't have is he was also actually written as the character rather than trying to modernize the character or trying to put him in a Randian objectivist lens rather than an altruist lens. Sorry, Zack Snyder, but that was the main problem with Henry's version. It wasn't Henry. Henry wanted to portray the character as the character should be portrayed, but Zack Snyder wouldn't let him because Zack Snyder, Mr. Every character I write has to be a Randian objectivist, turned a character whose entire character is based on altruism, idealism, and innocence into Randian objectivist character.
Yeah,
and people simply don't understand or don't wish to understand how to write these kind of characters, which baffles me because Chris Evans' Captain America was actually a pretty good rendition of that aspect of Captain America's character, the innocence, the aw shucksness, as I sometimes put it. Take what they did with that, turn it up to 11, and there's how you write Superman. But no, they won't do it for some reason. People do not respect or understand the character and do not wish to. It annoys me.
Superman Lois is actually doing.
Oh, shit.
Hmm?
Superman is doing
Superman Lois. Superman Lois is actually doing the altruistic Superman.
Yes,
Up
Superman
to a
is
point,
always-
even they, I don't think, go far enough. Because they
Let's see,
focus
Mariah's
way too
saying
much on him
with
being a
all of the
middle-aged dad and not enough on the...
Maranya saying with all the acrobatics and fighting that Batgirl has done through in the past couple of years, with the Nightwing, there's no way whatsoever she was pregnant. She would have lost the baby 10 times over.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm working on the auction, putting them in bag and backing boards and such. I was lucky enough to grab this collection of Daredevil.
Yeah. Well, the two things is, number one, James Gunn needs to stop listening to Tom King. And then number two is, as time has gone on, for me at least, Captain America: First Avenger is a top 5 MCU.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm telling you, it was the best one in the trilogy. I've been saying that for years.
Well, Captain America is definitely the best MCU series. But that's my opinion.
And you would also think with all of these evil Superman figures, the Omni-Mans, the Homelanders, etc., the Injustice, etc., they'd at least be able to reverse engineer it and turn it back into a good version based on all of the successful evil versions. But, you know, apparently basic reverse engineering and narrative concept is beyond these people.
Yeah.
It's because they do not understand altruism or being good.
Or respect it,
my
more
male
importantly.
example will always be my grandfather. He was an artist, you know. He worked, uh, he was a teacher and an artist, but he was still a tough man. And he was the kindest man I ever knew. He was helping elderly ladies, people with neighbors with the cars, and he was an example to me. And that's what Superman is to many people. He's an example. He is
He
strong.
always should
He
be
is
inspiring.
kind. He's kind of innocent, but he's strong. These people never had, I think, this male example of a strong, kind man in their lives, and that's the problem.
Well, and
They
it goes
confuse
even
power and strength with being mean.
yeah, they don't understand the concept of someone being able to be both powerful and innocent or altruistic or idealistic or however else you want to put it. Ironically, and this is something I noticed especially with Zack Snyder's version, and again, I do not blame Henry for this because Henry, being the fanboy he is, knew the character he should be playing. They just didn't let him play it.
The more I see about Zack Snyder, the more I think we dodged a bullet.
Right, but okay. The thing I was going to say is if you actually look at the interviews with Zack Snyder and you look at the way he portrayed Superman, Zack Snyder actually agrees more with Lex Luthor than he does with Clark Kent, because Zack Snyder is a Randian objectivist, or at least the bastardized version of a Randian objectivist that he thinks there should be, which is to say that he doesn't think someone with power should be innocent or altruistic or idealistic. He thinks that if someone with power is acting idealistic, there has to be a trauma-based reason for why they're acting altruistic. And that's why Man of Steel was such an absolute shit show, because they tried to give Superman a tragic backstory to make him idealistic, rather than just accepting that that is who Superman is. He just is that good, and there's no reason why he can't just be that good from the off.
Okay.
They did so dirt with Pa Kent and that movie. I to this day
No, I was.
That's the
I
reason
remember
why
being
me
shocked.
reminding
No,
the
with
movie.
no, I remember like when I first saw this, I was shocked with how John was portrayed in Man of Steel. Like internally, only my wish was, dude.
Should I
This
let
is
him
not
die?
not
Yes.
Jonathan
No, I
Kent.
don't know. Yeah. The answer's
And
no,
the-
Pa.
And ironically, that is always what Lex Luthor says whenever Lex Luthor is being written correctly. Lex Luthor's main consistent character reason why he doesn't trust or like Superman is because he doesn't understand why someone as powerful as Superman is would be the altruistic Boy Scout that he is. Lex Luthor has to come up with a cynical, power-based reason why Superman does what he does. You must be doing it to show off. You must be doing it to make people ingratiated to you. You couldn't possibly be doing this for idealistic reasons, because if you're doing this for idealistic reasons, you must be an idiot. That's exactly the way Lex Luthor thinks, and it's virtually philosophically indistinguishable from how Zack Snyder literally wrote the character.
Yeah.
Yep. So, hey, with that, I'm going to head out of here. So
I was just about to. Eric dropped out.
yeah. So
don't want to interrupt heading out.
I'm being on the screen.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see what's going on. Hopefully, we could do this tomorrow. I want to check out either Faith or maybe an actual good comic, and we'll talk about the Popeye book or something like that. Either way, thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you to Eric, LK, Cartoons, Dominic, and it's always on the tip of my tongue. What's your name, Dalton? And thank you very much for hanging out with us as always. Thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
See you later.
Bye.
There you go.